If you need to hire a criminal defense attorney because you've been charged with a crime or you think charges are coming, then probably at some point you're going to want to know, how much does it cost? I would suggest that shouldn't be question number one. Getting a good attorney for your case is going to be the most important situation or the most important criteria in my opinion, but cost certainly comes into play. So in my last video, I kind of talked about several things to consider and find when you're hiring an attorney, and being financially compatible is certainly something to consider. So in this video, I want to go a little bit more in detail about that and kind of give you an idea of what to expect, very, very ballpark, on cost when you're trying to hire a criminal defense attorney. My name is Marcy Fazio, and I am an attorney. I help people who've been charged with a crime in the Oklahoma City area. So cost, just like anything, the cost of cars varies anywhere from $5,000 to $500,000. The cost for a doctor, the cost for a house, there's going to be a huge range of costs. So this is definitely not a guarantee of cost. There are going to be some that are cheaper, some that are more expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to just give you kind of a ballpark on what attorneys are probably going to be considering, what's going to be taken into account to help you get a rough idea what to expect when you are considering hiring a criminal defense attorney and trying to find the right attorney for you. I have found I've been practicing criminal defense law for 15 years, first as a prosecutor and now helping people who've been charged with crime, handling criminal defense cases. And as a criminal defense attorney, I have found that my clients have a lot of the questions they have at the beginning of involvement in the criminal justice system is a lot different than the questions they have later on. So I'm putting together these series of videos to hopefully help people by answering some of the questions that they have at the beginning stages. So this specific video, I think this is number 4 or 5, is talking about the cost of a criminal defense attorney. How much is it going to cost? Check out the other videos where I answer some other questions that might be relevant or useful to you, and hopefully just kind of get the process started off a little bit more smoothly. I found a lot of times if you just kind of know what to expect, that kind of what can help with stress and just knowing what's coming up. So let's get to it and talk about, give you some information on cost. So you can go to my website, faziolaw.com, and I had a website programmer guy help me out and make this, what I think is a really cool fee calculator. So again, this is just a general guideline. So faziolaw.com, and then if you'll see the resources tab over here on the right, you can click on how much does a defense attorney cost. So we're going to click on that. Wait for that page to load, and it gives you kind of just some general information. Now, in where I practice in Oklahoma City, Norman, Yukon, that general area, most attorneys that I know that practice criminal defense charge based on a flat fee. So you may have heard of like hourly rates. A lot of attorneys charge based on an hourly rate, and so it would be so much per hour, and then the attorney would keep track of how many hours they work on your case. So that's an hourly rate. But criminal defense, I charge what I charge most of the time, and what most of the people, most of the other criminal defense attorneys I believe do as well, is charge a flat fee or a fixed fee. So instead of an hourly rate where you really don't know what the total is going to be, I try to give you a fixed rate. So if you were to call my office and ask about cost, we'd ask you a bunch of questions and give you a fixed rate. So that's just kind of easier, I think, to budget and know ahead of time what the cost is going to be. So that's what we're talking about over here in this kind of a white box, a fixed fee. So I've got some questions that you can answer on this calculator, some things that will kind of determine what the fee is going to be. So what type of legal services do you need? Most people that hire me because they have a pending criminal case or a criminal case that's about to get filed, but there are a few other types of situations. So charged with a crime is the most common one, but also there's probation violation, or if a person has already been sentenced and they're going to try and modify that, and then expungement. So those are different issues. Talk about those in different places, but for now we're talking about being charged with a crime. So we'd click on that. And then again, the things that are going to be factored into your legal fee for most criminal defense attorneys, and certainly for my office, is going to be if you're charged with a misdemeanor or a felony. So a felony is a more serious crime, a misdemeanor is a lower level crime. So let's just say as an example, you're charged with a misdemeanor. And then what type of criminal charge? Because there are probably more than 100 different types of charges that you could be charged with in state court in Oklahoma. So I kind of just broke it down to very broad categories. There's DUI charges, white collar charges, that could be anything from a a bad check to embezzlement or forgery. Theft charges is where you are charged with taking something from another person. So it could be larceny, concealing stolen property, something like that. A drug charge, that's pretty self-explanatory, and it could be something like simple possession where you just had a joint on you, or it could be a trafficking charge if you have, a large quantity of cocaine. So what type of drug charge? Gun charge, and then an assault charge if you're charged with some type of violent act. So let's say that we're charged with a DUI charge. And then here's some questions that you're going to ask and input the information on the calculator, because again, these are things that I think most criminal defense attorneys, and certainly my office, is going to take into account when quoting you a fee as far as what the fixed rate would be. Some DUIs, it's just a simple, you ran a stop sign, the cop pulled you over, traffic stop. Some DUIs are a lot more serious because there's a car accident involved. So if there's a car accident, it's going to cost more. Let's say this is just a standard, you ran a stop sign, got pulled over. So no on the car accident, but see how you can change it. So we're putting no. And then another issue that comes up with specifically DUI cases is your driver's license privileges with the Department of Public Safety. That's a kind of a separate case. And if you need representation for that, then that gets factored in. Let's just say no to make it easy. And let's say you've never been charged with anything before. So if you've got a misdemeanor DUI, no car wreck, you don't need help with DPS, and you have no priors, here's your ballpark for fixed fee, $2,500 to $4,000. So again, this isn't, of course, going to give you an exact quote. Other attorneys' quotes could be way lower, could be way higher, but it tells you kind of what types of things are going to be taken into account, what kind of things are going to matter or factor in to the fee. So more serious crimes, of course, higher fees. If there had been a car accident, let's just see how that would change this DUI case. So we've got a $2,500 to $4,000 quote, but if there was a car accident, change that to yes, then obviously the fee is going to go up because it's more complicated. So hopefully that gives you just a little bit of guidance and what to expect as far as how much a criminal defense attorney is going to cost. Different attorneys are going to charge different rates, et cetera, but these types of things are going to be factored in. If you want a specific quote from an attorney, call them. If you want a specific quote from my office, then you can give us a call at 405-593-8444. You can go, or you can just go on our website, shoot us an email, or I've just recently added this button that I think is really cool. If you go to my website and click on either home or contact us, there's a button right here you can click where you can schedule a time for us to call you. So a lot of times that's easier because you know your schedule and your availability, and we know our schedule and availability, so that way you can go on and actually pick a time, and you know you're going to be able to make connection, talk to somebody, and get some questions answered. So hopefully this is helpful to you, and give me a thumbs up if so. Talk to you soon.